You may remember it was a specialty gadget in The Spy Who Loved Me. The Lotus Espirit was able to turn into a submarine. Well, there is a new version of that classic Lotus that's out now.
Here's a card to remind us why.
New Lotus Esprit, V8 Supercar Reborn. 3, 2, 1, go.
Here's a card to remind us why we all love Lotus. While the mothership chases financial stability via 2-ton plus electric SUVs, this is a reborn Esprit S1.
Oh, it's got that retro future vibe, sort of like what you see with Hyundai's Grandia concept. I love that. Oh, and those plaid seats. And look at that! They've turned the headlamps and the tail lamps into this sort of futuristic-looking LED bits. I like that. It looks like they line this bit with carbon fiber.
It's made by a company called Encore, and it arrives just in time.
Hang on. We just need to take a moment to savor this. This angle right here, chat. God above, this looks good. And mind you, this is not a big car. Lotus Esprits were actually fairly small cars, but it's just such a classic design, this sort of wedge-shaped design. You see this with not just the Esprit, but you saw it with the, I think one of the early versions of the Ferrari 512, before it became the Testarossa. I think to a certain extent the Ferrari Dino was like that. I think Maserati may have had one that was a similar style, similar body style. Damn, that looks really good, like something out of Cyberpunk 2. It is. You can bet it's just a matter of time before someone sees this in the mod community and creates a modification to allow you to drive a Cyberpunk Lotus Esprit in Cyberpunk 2077. And I hope somebody gets on that soon. So those of you in the mod community for Cyberpunk, if you're watching, let's make this happen. Let's make this happen, lads.
To celebrate the original's 50th anniversary, fully remastered. So yes, it's a resto mod, and I know that's almost a dirty word these days, but still they come. And there's a good reason for that. Because modern cars are too heavy, too powerful often, and too damn complicated. So, the Encore is a philosophy as much as it is a car.
Let's go back and... hang on a minute, I've got to pause the music here.
So, the Encore...
I like that logo. The E for Encore, with a little bit of the Union Jack off to the left. That is some clever design for a logo. I like that. And it almost looks like, in a certain way, you flip it up, it looks like a trident, or almost like the symbol for the manual transmission car. And this plaid, I am in love with this plaid seating. Not just because it's blue, but because it's also plaid. So it's my favorite color, and it's also triggering in a good way the Scottish portion of me. And yeah, no, I'm loving this. Just needs the Union Jack colors, indeed.
Is a philosophy as much as it is a car. It emphasizes the stuff that made the original Esprit so cool. The wedge design and its amazingly alert chassis, but junks to stuff that compromised it. But perhaps more importantly, it commits to the idea that 400 bhp is more than enough, especially in a car that weighs under 1,200 kilograms.
I mean, something that small, 400 horsepower, yeah, that is more than enough. Any more and it'd be a monster. It would probably be constantly trying to go airborne. There is such a thing as having too much horsepower. And really, it's not about horsepower or torque. It's, well, in a way, it is more about torque. More than anything, it's what you can plant on the ground and what you can keep balanced whilst the vehicle's in motion. You know, that's why I think one of the old Top Gear challenges with Clarkson, Hammond and May, they had, one of them had a Ferrari, one of them had a Lambo, and I think Richard Hammond had a Porsche 911. And I think they went up, I don't know if they went to It was either the Scottish Highlands or the Isle of Man. I think it was the Isle of Man that they went to. And it was a stretch of road that they had closed off, and they put each of their vehicles in the hands of the Stig, and they timed it out, and the Porsche beat the Ferrari and Lamborghini supercars. It wasn't the most powerful. It didn't have the biggest engine. Didn't have the biggest presence on the road. It wasn't the biggest car in terms of size. But what it had was balance. Everything was just so perfectly balanced. And so that's why it got the best time compared to the Ferrari or the Lambo. When your car's flying off the freeway, there may be too much horsepower. Yes. Yes. When you can't control it, and when it's practically trying to go airborne every time, just because there's so much horsepower under the hood, and it can't keep its own wheels planted on the ground, you might have a bit too much horsepower. Gator, welcome in. Good to see you. Balanced as all things should be, indeed. Nice little Avengers reference there, Valeran.
Could it be more powerful? Yes, of course it could.
Okay, so they opted for AP racing sport brakes rather than Brembos. Brembos are everywhere these days, so that's a bit refreshing to see something different.
But does it need to be? No, it doesn't. This is essential Esprit. It has everything that you need and want, and none of the stuff that you don't. An Encore can do this because, of course, it uses a donor car, which is where the resto bit comes in. So although this looks like an Esprit S1, underneath it's actually a last-of-the-line 3.5-litre V8, which was in production until 2004. Lotus developed that engine in-house. It was called the Type 918, an all-aluminium unit with a flat-plane crank, 32 valves, and twin turbos. The rear transaxle...
A twin-turbo V8. Those things are pretty much extinct these days. I don't even know if you can find those on any of the VW group cars like Audi or Porsche. And I think even... I mean, you can certainly find it with Ferrari or Lamborghini, maybe Maserati. So the Italians, to some extent, still have V8s, but for how long? Most of them are trending towards V6s and smaller turbo inline 4s. The V12 is pretty much dead now, save for the W12, which I believe they still put inside the Bentleys. But yeah, V8s and 12-cylinder engines, endangered species, all of them. And it's sad.
Originated in the Renault 25. Look it up if you want. And even with major Lotus mods, it was never particularly sweet shifting. Lotus also detuned the V8 from its 500 bhp plus potential to around 350 so that it didn't lunch the gearbox. Work to be done here then. The elements that are core to the donor car's identity are kept intact. So that's the steel backbone chassis, the
Honestly surprised to hear V12 is endangered. I'm not. All of the fuel efficiency standards, environmentalist regulations and whatnot, I mean, they never really were fuel efficient engines to begin with. You did not buy a car with a 12-cylinder engine for fuel economy. You bought it to go fast. And I think you can still, to a certain extent, get a V12 in something, but they are incredibly endangered. And to a certain extent, the same can be said for the V8. These days, you're more likely to get, if you get a sports car, you're more likely to encounter one brand new that has a V6, possibly even a V6 with twin turbos on it. Hopefully with the K car ban lifted, we'll see more V12s somehow. Hopefully. A lot of that was driven by the American Cafe standards, so we'll see. But there are still regulations within the European Union to contend with. So all of that could be for naught, which, again, it's really sad because, God, those are some beautiful engines, and they roared. They absolutely roared like lions. And, yeah, people say that the revving of a Maserati V8 instantly triggered a Lady Chatterley crisis with women. I would dare say that when it came to the roaring of a V12, like in an old Lambo, you rev that V12 engine, the fetisex would hear that and just go,
Oh my God! I'm at the
anyway.
Engine block, the gearbox casing, and some ancillaries. Oh, and the chassis number. This means that Encore can claim, with some considerable justification, that this is basically a new car. Dan Durant, who led the exterior team on the Lotus Emira, has managed to preserve the Giugiaro-designed original, even though using the V8 as the...
That's right, this was designed by Giugiaro, wasn't it? Giorgetto Giugiaro, chat, for those of you who don't know, absolutely prolific designer of automobiles, some of the most iconic automobiles in the world. You know, if you will allow me to borrow a bit of Jeremy Clarkson parlance there. Because it is true in the most literal sense. Designed the Lotus Espirit, one of his more iconic cars that he designed. I have to look it up here now. This is actually going to bother me if I don't look it up. Shadow. There we are. Italian automotive designer. Still alive, by the way. He's 87 years old. Which cars did he design? Yeah, think of some of the most iconic cars in the world, and more than likely, Giorgetto Giugiaro was the man responsible for their design. He was the one who designed and built the framework for the Ferrari 250 GT back in the 1960s. Here it is in its final form. Ton of classic car designs, yes. Absolute thing of beauty, this one. And you can see probably where other companies like Volvo, for example, got that inspiration with one of their Grand Tourers around that same time. Here's another one that he designed, the original Volkswagen Golf Mark I. I mean, when you think of an old VW Golf, this is what you think of. In a similar vein, designed the Lancia Delta, the Maserati Ghibli. Here's another one. The DeLorean DMC-12. That was a Giugiaro design. Yes, the Marty McFly Back to the Future car. That was Giugiaro's design. Same bloke who designed this Lotus Esprit that we're looking at here. And actually, it didn't start out in life as the DeLorean DMC-12. It actually started out as a concept car, a new generation of the Hyundai Pony. Wasn't meant to be a gull-wing car, meant to just have the doors open up out like normal. But Hyundai rejected it and decided to go with a different concept for the Pony. And so Giugiaro retooled the design, made it a gull-wing car, took it to John DeLorean, and the rest was history. Let's see what else he had. The De Tomaso Mangusta. Its sister car, the Pantera, was an interesting... I don't know if they did it with the Mangusta, but I know they did it with the Pantera. Very similar design to the Mangusta. Italian design. Italian chassis. Italian exterior. Engine, I believe, was made by Ford. So you had an American engine in the back, a V8 no less. An American V8 engine in an Italian sports car body. The classic Alfa Romeo Giulia Sprint GT. That's another one. The Maserati Merak. I believe Jeremy Clarkson drove this one on Top Gear. And then we've got this. What we were just looking at, the Lotus Esprit S1. More recently, responsible for the Alfa Romeo 159. Absolutely fantastic saloon car. Pity it's not made anymore. He even created his own Ford Mustang concept car. Again, it's a pity they didn't put that into production. Would have been an absolute stunner. But it wasn't just sports cars and sports saloons that he designed. The Eagle Premier, I think it was an old AMC branded automobile. That, surprisingly enough, was a Giugiaro design. Though it does look a bit bland, doesn't it? The GTA My Car, an all-electric vehicle, looks very similar to a smart car. Giugiaro even designed city buses, if you can believe that. Anyway, back to the video.
Donor means it's wider now and has more heft than the dainty little mid-70s Dart. This really is insanely beautiful in the flesh, this car. It's so pretty, so well resolved. If you know the original Esprit, and of course you do, you'll remember it has a line that bisects the body. That's gone. That was only ever there because it was used to disguise where the two halves of the fiberglass body were glued together. Obviously this is carbon fiber, so we don't need that. What else have we got? Well,
incredible.
You'll notice immediately that the door handles, sourced on the original from the Morris Marina, well, they've completely gone. The pop-up headlamps,
probably for the best.
They're still here because
yes! 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 It would have been an absolute sin if they got rid of the pop-up headlamps. Oh, I am so happy to see new versions of those. Oh, that makes me happy. Oh. I might just get a little bit of a chubby in my pants for these, chat. Oh. I love me some pop-up headlamps. Almost as much as I love good sex with a woman. Oh my god.
There's a pop-up headlamp. They're low-profile LED projector lights. A perfect example of using modern technology to update something that we love from our analog past. And probably one of the most impressive things I think about the Encore remaster of the Esprit is basically that the shot lines are so...
Little too happy there. You have no idea. You have to be a car person to understand the beauty and just the cool factor of pop-up headlamps. They were something that started off in the 70s, got really big in the 80s, then started to drop off in the 90s, and then regulations that came in, they were gone by the 2000s. And it is an absolute damnable shame because it's, I don't know what it is, just so fucking cool. It's just something so simple, but it's just this little bit of design that just all of a sudden just cranks up the cool factor on a car to 11. I get that, I'm not judging. I know.
Good on this car, so good. The glazing, which is mostly new, though not these bits, these are carried over, but windscreen and this rear glass, I mean, this is so tight. The detail stuff is exceptional. That was never Lotus's strong point back in the smoky 70s. Yes.
Yeah, no, the quality control on old Lotus cars was a bit hit and miss. This right here that we're looking at, this is a precision job. This is a British car done properly. That's what they call iconic. Yes, indeed. Sometimes things are just neat. Absolutely.
What we're looking at here is surely the ultimate Esprit S1. And it gets better. For a Resto Mod startup or whatever it is, Encore has gone to serious lengths here. The Esprit S1's fiberglass GRP body had the structural rigidity of a cheesecake that had been left in the rain and scant rollover protection. This one is made of carbon fiber and it's from the same British supplier that does the GMA T50. The original chassis was galvanized, but now it's been vapor blasted and coated as well, so corrosion shouldn't be an issue. And the engine, well, for
the older ones, they tended to rust away after a bit.
Start, here it is. You can see it. You couldn't on the original Esprit S1, and very lovely it is too. It's got forged pistons, new impellers, electronic throttle with a bespoke aluminium case, a new ECU for a smoother idle and just better everyday usability, new turbos, and a new exhaust. And the gearbox has been significantly upgraded too.
The core of this has been preserved, but almost everything else in it, it's practically a brand new car. It is a new car with the soul of an old car.
New gears, rings and bushes. In comes a twin-plate clutch and a Quaife limited slip differential to give the car even sharper, more telepathic handling than ever. There's no traction control, though that might be added later. All Esprits had a bit of a rep
Not
for
sure you need
overheating.
it.
It's not a car that ever likes sitting still on a hot day in traffic. So the Encore has new radiators and significantly upgraded cooling.
Oh, yes, that's right. I forgot. Lotus has had that. Always tended to have radiator issues. Yeah, they had a tendency to overheat quite a bit.
Cooling air is drawn to the engine through little intakes here at the side and via this little strip at the top. And there are also extra ducts underneath
sleek.
to vent hot air. It shouldn't overheat, in other words. There are
Yes,
new
that's good.
suspension arms, Bilstein shock absorbers, new IBAC springs, and new brakes with 6-pot calipers on the front, 4-pot on the rear. And the horrible old fly-off handbrake, well, that's been replaced with a brand new electronic one. The wheels are machined from aluminium billet, 17-inch at the front, 18-inch at the rear.
They look
That's
bloody good.
unfashionably small by modern standards. The tires are Bridgestone Potenzas, and the side walls are chunky to protect the car's famous ride and its overall compliance. Now, 70s British sports cars often had, shall we say, troublesome electrics. Encore has given this Esprit
That's putting it
remastered
mildly.
an all-new electrical architecture, and the infotainment system is similar to the setup you'll find in the GMA T50 and the one that's used by Pagani, so it should be reliable. That's good. And it should also be able to handle all the stuff that 2025 demands. Right, let's get inside it, shall we? No Morris Marina door handles. How do I get in? I know how to get in. There's a little button up here. There we are.
Nice and easy.
Honestly, sitting in this car, I've driven a few S1 Esprits, and it's a bit like falling through a hole in the space-time continuum from 1975 and washing up 50 years later. Everything
That steering wheel, though, that is, it's got the sporty grips there at, what was that, a 2 and 10? Don't know how I feel about a 2-spoke steering wheel, though. To me, it just seems like something that was taken off of an old, off of, say, like an old Lincoln or Ford station wagon from the 70s, around this same time as the Lotus Esprit. It's all right. I guess when I think of a proper sports steering wheel, it needs 3 spokes. So it's missing a spoke. I'm not sure how I feel about that. But I don't know. This might be the new thing in automobiles these days, is the 2-spoke steering wheel making a comeback.
is kind of familiar, but fully modernized,
Ooh.
remastered.
That wooden gear shift, I like that. That's lovely.
Reborn, whatever adjective you want to come up with. So
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. It's like they just sort of cut it out of a tree stump or something like that, and then just gave us some varnish and polish and stuck it on. It's beautiful.
2-spoke wheel. The original S1 Esprit had this very distinctive steering wheel, and Encore, and it's written large in the boss there. They could have, got a wheel just from a supplier, but they've gone to town on that as they have
Props
with
for going
everything
the
else.
extra mile.
What you don't see so much of these days is tartan trim inside, but that's what the original S1 Esprit had, and it's here in this one too. Apparently Lotus's designers were influenced by London street fashion in the mid-70s, and the look that people like Vivienne Westwood was coming up with. I guess Lotus was a bit punk, really. There's a heated front screen,
Still
heated
looks good
seats, a
even
new
today.
aircon system.
I think Rex needs 5 minutes alone with the car. I'm going to need more than just 5 minutes. I'm probably going to need to take this one on holiday with me. This is absolutely fantastic. This is just an absolute thing of beauty.
Although the seat frames are the same because there were issues with the seat belts and legality. There's also a premium audio system made by Encore's main investor, Skyships. There are subs in the bulkhead and specific cutouts in the
I don't know you would say that. Perhaps I really am that predictable.
body. The whole dashboard structure is made of carbon fibre, but you can't see the air vents because they're cleverly hidden. this binnacle, which
It's
you can
face
adjust,
with
you know, it's a
cream.
bespoke car. So if I wanted higher, and I would, they can do that. It's milled from a solid piece of aluminium. It's in 2 parts, I think. So this main piece, you know, modern instruments here, fully configurable. I can't see the nose of the car, so it's a good job it's got a 360-degree parking camera. I remember vividly trying to park a Esprit V8 in the late 90s, and it's quite a painful process. But of course, a manual gearbox as well. There's no flappy paddles in here. This is a oak gear lever, and this is machined. The gate is machined into the top of it. Lotus made around 1,237 Esprit V8s, not all of which are in particularly good shape. Encore is confident that sourcing 50, which is the number of cars they plan to make, should be doable. And before you blow a head gasket, it's not about to start butchering the desirable limited run Sport 350 iteration, or any other garage queens for that matter. A prototype is up and running, with the first customer car due to be delivered in April. Encore has also financed everything without needing to take customer money up front to pay for the program.
Oh, that's good.
Like Singer and Chimera, Top Gear's recently crowned Performance Car of the Year, Encore is also aware of the need to provide a full customer experience. It can't be half-assed.
No,
Okay,
it
let's
can't.
recap then. So, 400 bhp, 3.5-litre V8 in something that weighs less than 1,200 kilograms. A car that looks like the best version of the Esprit S1 you've ever seen. A machine that, let's not forget, was made famous by some bloke called James Bond. Well, he was bound to come up, wasn't he? It's been completely re-engineered so that the cool stuff is amplified and all the crappy bits have been chucked in the bin. We're talking major analog
should be.
vibes here, but underpinned by fully modern technology. Even at the £430,000 plus donor car and taxes that the Encore costs, it has all of our attention. I can't wait to drive this thing.
Good lord. Plus the donor car, which is God only knows how much those go for these days. That could easily be £750,000 just for that. And it's an absolute masterpiece. So in many ways I'd say yes, it's expensive, but is it worth it? Fuck yeah, it is. Anyways, giving that a like, posting the link in chat,